It was so wonderful sitting around the table with such dear old friends this week. And I realized how much I've changed, but how much I've stayed the same. How much we've all stayed the same. It's like that wonderful Joni Mitchell song. Old friends shake their heads and say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming back and seeing me and Desi today. How'd you do this week? Did you do okay? I had a good week. I had some out-of-town guests that I just love, my two girlfriends from grade school. And we had a lovely afternoon and a lovely dinner. And we went round table and we asked 10 questions about who have we become after all these years. Who have we become? And I want to share with you some of my thoughts on these questions. And then I want to hear from you. And I so hope you'll pick out a few of these questions and answer them in the comments. What is my very best quality? Oh boy, talk about being uncomfortable here. Okay, well, I would say I'm a very warm person. People who know me always say you're very warm, you're very loving, and you're very friendly. And so I'm very proud of that. So that's my best quality. And what is my worst quality? Well, I don't know. Can we really judge that in ourselves? I would say the quality that I have that I truly dislike is sometimes I can be very petty. And I hate that in myself. Sometimes I will waste time on things that have nothing to do with anything or anybody. It doesn't enrich my life. I'm just being sort of nosy, petty.
You know what we haven't done in a long time? We haven't made homemade dog biscuits. Do you want to do that today? Why not, huh? It's so cold out. Too cold for a walk.
What do people get so wrong about me? What do people get wrong about you? For me, it's a couple things. And the first one being, I'm not out to impress anybody, ever. I think I've spent the majority of my life, honestly, trying not to be an ass. I remember once my ex-husband, Eddie, said to me in anger, "You're always trying to impress people in a room. You always are hitting people over the head about how intelligent you are." And I thought, that is absolutely not true. My goal in life is not to impress people with a bunch of bull. I just want to be as honest as I possibly can with you. And I've shared so many things that sometimes I wish I hadn't shared. Things that perhaps other people would be ashamed of. I don't have a filter. You know, it is what it is. And I don't want to be pretentious. I don't want to make up things that are, oh, maybe that'll wow you. I mean, what good is it? You want things to be so real and honest, and it's take it or leave it. So if someone thinks that I'm trying to impress them, no, no, no. That's not me at all. In our society, we never say, "Hi, Mary, how's your money?" We don't talk about money. We never ask somebody how much money they have or how much money they spent last month. We don't do that. And we don't teach it in school either. What is it like when you're living on Social Security? How do you do with money? And I thought a lot about how my relationship with money over the years has changed. But when you are a woman alone, and I don't think it matters what age you are, but when you are a woman alone and the only breadwinner in your house, well, Desi does pull in a little, doesn't he? You have to be very careful with money, and I am extremely careful. You have to know every single day what your money is doing. And at night, I sit down and I open up my spreadsheets and I take a look at what have I spent for the day? How are my accounts doing? What are the balances? How much so far have I spent this month? And if I'm over budget, why? And then I write down the extra expenses. I also then compare it to the month before and then the month before that. So there's a lot of work that I do every single night to make sure that I'm on track. Because the worst thing I think that can happen with money is it starts controlling you. You don't control it. When you are a person without means or without any money in the bank, when your car breaks down, you are in a panic. You have no way to pay for a huge repair. Well, when your family is coming over, maybe they're coming in from out of town and you have to cook a big dinner. Maybe you don't have the money to go buy all those groceries. I mean, the life that a person has trying to make it on Social Security. Well, you have to be a genius to make sure that you have extra. And I think the biggest thing is the challenge of trying to figure out, how can I make my money stretch? How can I get multiple avenues of income? And by golly, I got to make sure that I know where every cent is going at every minute of every day. My financial situation has changed in the last 8.5 years. I get income from Google, I get income from Amazon, I get extra income from companies that I do ad work for or I edit for them. So I have generated more of, a financial stream into my household. But I have a house now, and I realize that I have to be very careful because my house here is actually cheaper than what my apartment was. But, you always want to make sure you have something saved for, the rainy day in case there's something wrong with the roof or the water heater or perhaps the boiler or, I don't know, Desi has fleas. You just got to be prepared. And so I always keep that rainy day fund. What was the very happiest time of my life, and how does it compare to now? And the happiest time of my life was 1998. I had just married my husband. I was so in love. We bought a house and we were living in the historic district of my city, and my son bought a house right around the corner. It was the best of times. It was magical. It was amazing. Well, how does that compare to now? Well, it's funny. And I was just thinking about this the other day, but the house that I'm in now does remind me a bit of the house that Bill and I bought. My son is right around the corner right now with my little grandchildren. And that's kind of amazing. It's almost as if I have spent 20 years of my life trying to get back to the happiest time of my life. And I did it. Except for one thing. I'm not married anymore to the man that I was so madly in love with. And that's that. Am I more comfortable in a crowded room at a party, or am I more comfortable in an empty coffee shop all by myself? And I have to admit, I'm comfortable both places. I love being in a crowd. I love going to parties. I love having a few cocktails and kibitzing with all my friends. And, you know, there's a little bit of an entertainer in me, and there always will be. You know, I was putting on shows as a kid. I'm putting on shows now, now that I'm almost 70. I mean, there's a part of me that comes alive, and I'm kind of on, and I love to make people laugh. So I love that. But there's a price to pay. After the party, I come home and I am so exhausted. I am a true introvert. But I'm not shy, but I am an introvert, and it knocks the stuffing out of me when I'm around a lot of people. Now, being in a coffee shop by myself, I love that. I didn't have any brothers and sisters growing up, and my mom worked all the time, so I was in the house by myself, me and the dogs and cats, and my piano. I'm very, very comfortable being alone. So what do you think? Are you a person who forgives? Can you say that the people that have wronged you in life, you have forgiven them? I do forgive people. I forgive people all the time. I love my family. I love my friends. I do not hold grudges. I let things pass and I move on. Have I forgiven everyone in my life? Perhaps people in my childhood that I think hurt me so much? No, I haven't forgiven them. I'm working on it. But the woman that I have become, the woman that I am today, I have joy, I love freely, and I forgive. I believe in second chances and third chances and all the chances that you might need to make it right. What lesson have I learned the hard way? I would say there's so many lessons that I've learned the hard way. Maybe it's supposed to be that way, so it'll make a big impression. I think the first lesson that I learned is you get what you give. So when I was about 21, I thought, boy, the world is kind of harsh. That people aren't very friendly. They're not very warm. And I realized I wasn't very friendly and warm. And so I changed. And I was amazed at the friendlier I was, the more I smiled, the more I got it back. That was a huge lesson. And it was a lesson learned the hard way because I felt so rejected so much of the time. And then it dawned on me, yeah, you get what you give. Not always, but most of the time. The second lesson that I learned the hard way is one that I have learned recently, and it's from being this age and dating. And I realize that sometimes with the men that I have dated, they seem so warm and we have so much fun, but I feel deep down they're not that attracted to me. They're not that into me, but they say they are. But I don't feel that they are. I feel that they're in love with the idea of me. The idea of he and I being a couple, the idea of having someone, a partner to go out to dinner with, to go to the movies. It's not exactly real. We're always told, don't settle. Follow your heart, follow your passion. And I think that's very good advice, but I think as we get older, we might be more apt to settle because it's like musical chairs, right? Once the music stops, you better have your partner because the choices are getting less and less, or perhaps that's our perception, that's how we feel. But that is no way to live your life. You don't have to pursue an idea or a dream of being with anybody. You have to wait for the right somebody. So go with your gut. I do now. And just because somebody says they're crazy about you, it doesn't mean that they are.
From the time I was a little girl, all I ever wanted to do was touch the world. But what I didn't realize is that the world would touch back someday. I never dreamed I would be this age and love living as I do. So, what have I become? I've become a grown woman. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I really love every minute. I love the time that we have together. If you have time down below, could you leave in the comments maybe your answer to one of the questions that I went through today? It would mean so much. Please have yourself a wonderful, happy fall week. And when you're done with your week, please come back and see me and Desi. Okay? All right. It's a deal. We'll be here. Yeah.